少年ジャンプス。
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Jaeger, what's up? Welcome back to Shonen Chumps, the one and only podcast about anime on the internet, featuring the three of us. What's up? Every week we talk about anime. You know the drill, and if you don't, welcome. What's up? This week we did something specific instead of something different.
So we did something normal.
We did something normal. It's just a normal week. We talked about Attack on Titan.
Season 1.
I'm Sean.
I'm Dylan.
And as always, I'm Brennan. What's up?
Alright guys, so I want to start it off the way we usually do. I want to know what you knew about the show before we started watching it. And now I should preface this by saying that I, Sean, have seen the show twice before I watched it this time for the podcast. Mm-hmm. This is my third time watching it. But still, question still stands. Yeah. What did we all know before we watched it?
Do we want to say, what are you going to say what you knew this time you watched it?
No,
or
I'm going to say
the first time you ever, okay.
Ever?
Yeah.
Everything I knew. Yeah.
Okay,
go on.
All right.
I guess I'll start. I started watching it way back when, like right after the whole season had aired.
Yeah.
So around 2013, 2014.
The hype.
Yeah, just because the hype was huge. I heard it was like one of the best anime of the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I had to.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like I had to watch it. I don't even know if I knew the general premise. Like, I don't know if I knew what a Titan was or, like, is the city Titan?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but I knew that it was good and that it was, like, the biggest thing out of Japan. And this is, like, coming from a time in my life where I had kind of stopped watching anime.
Oh, yeah. This was during the great anime depression of 2013 for Sean.
When I was, like, in my university years, I stopped really watching it. And this was, like, the one anime I watched throughout that period.
Cool.
Yeah.
This might be my fourth run at this show. Or like of season 1.
Goddamn.
Or like 5th. I don't know, man. I can say I never want to see season 1 again. But we'll get into more of that later. But my first ever impression of Attack on Titan, same deal, same time. I didn't know what it was about. I thought it might be like a sci-fi thing because I thought about like Titan the moon. So it's like Attack on Titan.
Right.
Like, oh, maybe this is like some space shit.
That'd be a cool spin-off.
Yeah, right? And then I also heard that it was like super violent and like a lot of kids were into it. So I was like, let's see what the hype's about. I think I was like semi-regularly watching anime at this point. So it's not like there's like nothing going on. And I'm like, oh, this is happening in the anime world. Maybe I'll check it out. It was, that's my first exposure to it. Dylan, how'd you feel? This is your first go.
Yeah, so I actually remember hearing about it a couple years ago. So I want to say it'd probably be after the hype wave.
Yeah.
But some other friends of mine who casually watch anime had mentioned this show to me and had recommended me to watch it too. I think actually in the summer of 2014. But I hadn't gotten around to it. I actually think I saw a bit of the pilot once at my friend's house, but I fell asleep because it was late. So, but I did. So from that, I kind of knew that there were like these giant people, attacking. Oh, sorry, these giant like humanoid things attacking humans.
Don't think you call them people.
Yeah, and and then understood that humanity was kind of with their backs against the wall.
Cool. So you had a general
like
idea. Yeah, that it was like almost post-apocalyptic in a way.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Cool. In our patented one-sentence approach, usually. What did you guys think about the show after having seen the first whole season?
Like the first time or this time?
Both.
All of it?
All of the above. Okay.
I'm going to say the show is very different, very unique. And I think it's undoubtedly a good show, period. Mm-hmm. But I have mixed emotions about it. There's parts that I love, there's parts that I hate, and there's parts that I hate so much that I love.
Holy shit.
Dylan. Sean?
I'll try to keep it to one sentence because we should.
Yeah.
And Brennan never does.
I mean, that was a sentence. It was a long sentence.
Yeah.
Lots
it was
of commas.
Good. It was your best yet, I think.
Yeah.
So I like Attack on Titan because of its action.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. It does have issues, but overall, yeah, I do like the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing the second season. And we won't have to wait long because it's airing now.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Air Gear.
Oh, God. Dylan?
I enjoyed the action, but it was a little hollow.
Whoa.
Ooh, interesting.
Neat.
Yeah.
Guess we'll find out more soon.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I'm actually relieved to hear that you guys have some mixed emotions about the show, because I was watching it and I had mixed emotions, and I knew that this was such a hyped show. And I was like, what am I missing here?
Right.
Am I the only one?
So I'll say that because this is my third time watching, that had a big part to play in me having mixed emotions about it.
Yeah.
Not
The
that
fact
I
that you've
didn't.
watched it so many times.
Yeah, not that I didn't have mixed emotions the first and second time I'd seen it.
Yeah.
But this time I was really aware of like
Right.
what was going right and wrong about the series.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that you guys watched it so many times and you had mixed emotions. Like, if I don't love something, I'm not going to watch it again. If I love something, I still might not watch it again.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's also like when you have that much time, because it's been a long time since the first season
Yeah,
aired,
like
or
4 years.
even even when we jumped on, I guess when you're kind of like killing time, sort of like, oh, maybe the second season will be coming soon. There's been no announcements. Maybe I'll just, refresh myself on this, or like you show it to someone and then you end up watching it together, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you wind up watching this show a lot, one way or another. I feel like you will at some point.
I'd
again.
probably just watch a recap on YouTube.
That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I would do.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
It's very likely that I won't watch Attack on Titan Season 1 ever again.
That's funny. Okay, so
Now it's just you left. Now you have to say that by the end of this podcast to make it all three of us.
yeah. I'll watch it 3 more times. So, what's the show about? We should explain it pretty quickly.
So I think we should start by describing the world, maybe. Just the setting that we're thrown into. So basically it's the world or some version of Earth or some planet similar to Earth where there's human beings on it. And all the human beings have been decimated by these weird, scary man babies that eat humans. And basically they've holed themselves up in a generally small area of land that's surrounded by these big concrete walls that don't allow these scary man babies inside to eat them all.
Yeah, roughly, because I was looking at the map earlier, it's about 500 kilometers from the center to the final wall, and there's like 100-ish to a bit more between every wall of these giant walls.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about all of humanity being able to fit within 500 kilometers, you can kind of like realize the scale of the devastation that's happened.
Do we know any, what the number of people there are?
I mean,
I don't know. They probably said it.
I think they said it.
it's getting smaller every day.
I think my second time watching the show, I tried to look up all the details, and I was like, "Oh, there's only 100,000 humans.
Yeah.
And 20% got wiped out. Than that, blah."
Yeah.
Stats.
So it's like a ton of people were killed, and now everyone is kind of within these walls. And I guess it's like the further in you go, you're probably rich or more powerful.
Yeah, the
You're the
safest
most
areas.
protected.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's towns that are kind of a barrier in a way because they're on the very edge of the concentric circles
Right.
of walls.
Yeah, it's like the walls are circles, but then there's like little bubbles on each corner or on like 4 points in the circle, which is like an extra wall, and there's like a town in that too.
And if something were to break through, it would be in those little towns.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Foreshadowing.
Foreshadow.
So that, I guess, about sums up the world. It's I guess you'd say like technologically they're not very advanced. They are.
It seems to be like we've talked about this. It's not necessarily in our timeline or our world or our universe. They have technology of sorts, but it is kind of almost steampunk. Kind of
they have weird industrial type of technology.
it's like dated, but it's also futuristic in a weird way.
Yeah.
And every town is like a 17th century German town.
Yeah. You'd say they're like several hundred years behind us, but they have these those like the ODM gear is like gas powered or whatever, right? And they can,
it's like gas
move
powered.
around.
And I think in one of the little screens it shows during the commercials, it says it's the swords that they have are made out of special steel.
Yeah,
and
right.
They have these factories that can make that steel.
Right.
So we know that they're able to produce that type of
There's
stuff.
some kind of
in the world.
industrial
technology,
Yeah,
but they don't have automatic
yeah.
weapons or anything.
And they
like
still
that.
like ride horses and
Yeah.
have horse carriages
and
shit.
use cannons.
Right. Oh, and they do. Yeah, they have like cannons
Rifles.
and guns, so it places
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
couple
And their
hundred
year's
years ago.
850.
850 on
Yeah,
their time.
so they're-
yeah.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Who knows
in
where
relation
they're
to
importing it
us.
from.
Yeah.
Titan Jesus.
Oh no.
So I guess that kind of sums up the world more
Yeah.
or less.
Yeah, so-
I guess you could also say like people haven't really ventured outside of those. The Titans appeared about 100-ish years ago from where the show starts.
Yeah. So since they got fucked over, humanity's been pretty reclusive.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
almost like it's been so long they've forgotten what's outside the walls, so they don't know that there's huge oceans
Exactly.
and stuff.
Yeah,
They like
exactly.
dream and wonder about what could be out there.
One could say that they are complacent. Maybe even like cattle.
One did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
Yes.
main character, Aaron Yeager.
Smooth transition.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about Aaron, I guess.
I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, now we can kind of get into the plot of the show
Yeah.
itself. So our main character is Aaron Yeager.
Yeah. And
And
we
he-
see him younger.
Yeah, he lives in one of those kind of bubbles, I guess,
fringe
that we
towns,
were
yeah.
calling,
Yeah.
which I keep forgetting the name, Sean, if you could.
It's Shiganshina?
Sure.
I
Yeah,
think.
it's a hard word.
Yeah.
Something like that. And basically, one day out of the blue, a giant titan appears and kicks a hole in his city. And then everybody starts getting eaten and fucked over left and right.
An abnormal titan. So titans shouldn't be strong enough to break through the wall, but there's an armored titan now.
Oh,
Wait,
that's
can
like
break-
the
that's
second
the
one,
second
actually.
one. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the giant titan.
Oh, yes,
that
it's
shows
the
up
giant
first.
titan. My mistake.
The giant titan like comes up and kicks a giant hole into the wall, and then later, like a few minutes later, I don't know what their timeline is there.
Yeah.
Like the armored titan comes in and just like tackles another wall.
yeah.
So
So
both
these are like
lines,
new titans.
yeah, like both lines of defense are broken by two very special looking titans. Every other titan's just like a naked baby man who is crazy
Yeah.
and doesn't have much
Yeah.
rhyme or reason or thought. But these two seem special. I guess we'll talk
And
about
they
that
also
more.
like
And-
disappear into thin air.
And then they disappear.
Vanish.
So this is kind of like the inciting incident for the show and kind of puts Aaron on his course. He
Yeah.
seems already interested in joining the Recon Corps, which are kind of like humanity's military, but they do outside excursions and they try to learn more about the Titans. They kill Titans if they
Yeah.
have to.
Right. They're committed to getting humanity out into the world again.
So it seems like society, or like more or less the people at least in the outer wall
Yeah.
of society, have forgotten about or stopped caring about the fact that Titans exist, except for Aaron. And it seems like the reason why he cares so much is because his dad never lets him forget. His
Yeah.
dad's like a doctor, scientist, and
Right, yeah.
Aaron's been very fascinated by the whole deal.
yeah, and his dad's like, oh, we're all living happy and dandy now, but one day they're gonna come. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point because, you know, there's a moment when Aaron watches the soldiers return, and then you get like the crowd murmur, and they're like, "Oh, our tax dollars hard at work. Like, look at these like guys. A bunch of them are dead. What did they even find out anything?
Assholes.
Yeah.
Protecting us.
But Aaron's got this like huge smile on his face, and he's like,
Right.
one
Yeah.
day that's gonna be me.
He beats
Yeah.
those people over the head with a stick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, don't talk shit on my boys. Yeah, so I guess back to the inciting incident. Quick spoiler warning. If you haven't watched the show, go watch the show, come back, and then listen to the rest of this. His mom dies.
Yeah, that was like a very short gap to give a spoiler warning.
Well,
you know, but yeah.
I like to hit him with the unexpected shit. Anyways, so yeah, his mom dies.
Yeah, the invasion happens, and this also happens while his dad is off treating someone in the field or
Yeah,
something.
it's
He's like
all-
he's gone for a
His
couple
dad
of days.
just dips every now and again because he is like the doctor,
Doctor,
because
yeah.
there's so few people.
Dad is such a weird character. He looks like he doesn't belong with his mom. He
Right,
looks like he's
yeah.
from a different century. He just looks like a weird dude.
Yeah. And like, just to note, Aaron's mom also has the standard mom who's gonna die in an anime haircut. Example in particular, our boy Edward Elric's mom has the exact same haircut
From Full Metal Alchemist.
from,
we should
Yes.
from
mention
Full Metal. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Aaron's mom dies. She gets eaten by a Titan.
Right, yeah. And can I just say it's the most ridiculously melodramatic scene to open a story on in a way.
Right. It always hits home with me. I've seen the show 3 times now.
Yeah.
And those 3 times, like, even though the melodrama is like really heavy hitting in the first episode or first 2 episodes, or the whole series actually, I feel like his mom dying, getting chomped on, and the blood going everywhere, makes me feel something like every time.
So those are like opposite opinions.
I mean, honestly, for me, it's like, it's just so over the top. Like, when I first watched the show, I got maybe 5 episodes deep before saying, fuck it, and just slamming the laptop shut and just being like, I'm done with this. And then coming back to it, like, maybe a couple days later, like, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. Like, because there were just, like, a bunch of things from the jump that kind of pissed me off in a way.
Right.
Like the melodrama.
Yeah, the melodrama, I guess in this example, it's just like when his mom dies, there's just this big showery explosion of blood and it all flows down in slow motion like flower petals, and it's just like, holy shit, man. I get it.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a heart-wrenching moment.
Right.
That was like pretty unsettling for me too, and I wasn't that into it. Like, I got that it was a big moment, but it felt over the top. And actually, I want to just bring up, because we were talking about melodrama, my first note from the show that I took is, quote, there is a lot of yelling in this show. Like, everyone all the time.
Yeah. And not just yelling, but like action lines on the sides of the screen. There's like swooping camera motions.
Yeah.
And all that's going on is a basic conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
so it gets like a little much.
The first time I realized
times.
it was when like the scouts were returning back to the village, and they were walking through the streets. And
I know what you're gonna say.
All the civilians are like, "Oh, what are they doing with their tax dollars?" Like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And a woman like asks for her son.
Did my son make himself useful?
And the guy just like pulls out her son's arm, and he's like, "I'm so sorry, I let your son die."
Yeah. And there's like all these lines just pointing at his face and up and down, and this action happening.
Yeah. So my first time seeing that episode, I'm like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" Like, especially watching it in Japanese, it was really unbelievable.
Yeah.
A little more easier to swallow when you're watching the dub in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. They make it easier to understand, but even then, everybody's yelling.
Like, the action in this whole series is one of like the biggest selling points, I think. But it's like funny where it's like at the point where they're trying to cram action even into like the emotional scenes where it's like, look at this guy feeling all these things, like with the lines and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So anyway, back to the plot. I guess we should just like gloss over it. I mean, if you're listening to the show, or if you're listening to our podcast, you've seen the show. Right. But we just kind of want to go over roughly what happens. So so Eren and I guess like the population that survives,
they get the fuck out of Shigan, Shima, or whatever the town's
So they
called.
retreat within the next wall, so behind Wall Rose.
Yep.
Right, and into I guess Trost, and so that's when they join the military. Eren and his friends Mikasa and Armin.
Yep, his two closest buddies.
Yeah, they all resolve to join. And then so we get a little bit like the next arc that follows is kind of one, we're introduced to a bunch more characters, but you know, him kind of getting trained, getting used to what it is to be a soldier,
and being determined and driven by his like burning desire for revenge and to set humanity free. Kind of
that
thing.
arc of 2 episodes is called Humanity's Comeback. So you bet your ass he's coming for you.
This is basically the training montage of the show, the Rocky Balboa mode.
The 2 episode long dun dun dun.
There's no stairs though.
That's him mastering the ODM gear. So just like to go over, I guess, what happens through the rest of the show, and then so Eren feels ready. He's like, I'm ready to take on Titans, and then boom, Titan right behind him.
And then
on the wall.
The next wall gets busted down, which is
Trost.
Wall Rose. Or the entrance to Wall Rose, which is the city of Trost. One of these outlying bubble cities.
And so that the Titan appearing out of nowhere again, and then I think vanishing out of nowhere again. It leads us into a 9 episode arc, 9 goddamn episodes. Called The Struggle for Trust.
Good God, if it's not a struggle, man.
It is.
My goodness.
It's a long arc.
Before we get into that, this is the point in the show where we're kind of introduced to a lot of characters at once.
Yes,
I feel like my first time watching the show, a lot of this kind of went over my head because I guess we'll talk about the art style and like stuff surrounding that a little later on. But my initial impression of the show was that stuff felt kind of samey, not just in the way it looked, but even in the way people were. it didn't feel like characters beyond the main three were fleshed out to the point where I could distinguish them my first pass.
Right. I took down a note, like while watching the series, saying this show will take any chance it can to make me think that a bunch of characters are the same dude.
Yeah.
Because like so many people look the same.
Oh yeah, it's like super confusing.
Even like, you know, Marco? That character who dies, who you're supposed to care about?
Yeah.
I didn't even know definitively what he looked like until the OVAs when the series was over.
Wait, your third time through?
Yeah. It's so funny, man.
Man, okay, well, watching it for like, I don't know, the fourth time, for me, I was more or less the same way. I was like, okay, so this is Marco who dies off screen.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's definitely true.
But yeah, wait, so do you want to talk about, like, I guess the side cast a little bit? Also, before we do, this is the kind of show that's like, oh, that's a lovely side cast you have there. It'd be a terrible shame if something were to happen to them.
Actually, that's one thing I'll say I appreciated about the show. It was not afraid to kill anyone.
Okay, wait. Before we get into that,
to a certain degree,
let's talk about who's getting killed. Not specifically, but just all the people who were kind of dumped on.
Should we gloss over what happens in the struggle for trust? Like, little arc?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Generally.
Yeah, it's just like Titans come in. They come into like the second wall now, Wall Rose.
Everybody gets fucked.
Everybody gets fucked up. But there's the next huge like revelation about what happens in the story, which is that
Eren dies.
Eren dies in the 5th episode.
This is okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've mentioned this at this point, but
Eren, no. that's my Armin impression.
Yeah.
So I think I might have mentioned that I quit the show the first time.
You definitely
did.
This is important because that's the point where I quit.
Why would you quit then?
Because let me tell you something. This show loves to fuck you. It really does. Or at least your expectations of what's going to happen. When you're watching a typical anime, especially like a shonen anime, it does this thing a lot where something happens, the characters are down on their luck, and then there's a big build-up, and then they kind of get back on their feet and they get their bearings, and then they go and then they succeed and then they win, and then it's on to the next challenge. But that's not the case with this show. It takes that sort of structure and then it flips it where it's like, oh, something bad happened. And then you see them get better and get better. And like, they're ready to go do this thing. In this case, take back trust after all their training, 2 years, spent all this time forming these bonds, and they're ready. And it's humanity's comeback, except it's not. And as soon as they jump out, Eren's entire squad gets wiped the fuck out.
Yeah.
Everybody dies in the most horrible way. Eren gets his leg chomped off and then his arm, and he dies a miserable death. And I was like, my first time watching this, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What just happened? I was expecting all these things, and you didn't give me my payoff. Where's my goddamn payoff? And I slammed the laptop shut, and I was like, fuck it.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Listen,
Dude, it's so great.
but it did make me come back, because I was like, well, I need to see what happens.
Like a naive idiot, my first time watching this, I thought Eren was dead. I thought he was legit dead.
Me too. I thought they pulled a Game of Thrones where they just killed your main character, and they're like, well, see ya.
Shut up.
Dylan hasn't seen it. But I do want to know, Dylan, what did you think? This is your first time watching it.
So I watched the show. Eren gets eaten. And I'm like, he's fine. I'll see him next episode.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't in the next episode.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like, shit. You know? And then I was like, oh, next episode. And then I don't know if he was in that one either. And then I was just kind of like, wait, does this show have the balls to just kill its main character? And then, like, Mikasa becomes the main character? Like, I wasn't sure. And I was very intrigued.
Honestly, when I saw that, up until then, there had been so many other character deaths for all these people who had, well, more or less been just introduced to, but I thought would maybe have more things to do before they died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they just like, the cast of side characters just dwindles and dwindles after, like, each episode. It's like, when's it gonna stop? Like,
right, yeah.
What if they did just kill their main character?
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. But then I just started to doubt myself, and I was like, maybe. But then episode 7, the Rogue Titan pops up. I'm like, that's Eren.
Yeah.
I was like, right away, I was like, that has to be him.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought he got eaten by this Titan, and when he gets eaten, he can then take over the body.
That's what I thought it was too.
Yeah.
Like,
I had,
but there's more at
like,
play there.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother, like, thinking about the mechanics of Titans because it's already been, like, weird and vague enough as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, that does kind of look like a dude with black hair who Eren happens to be, but it seems kind of strange that it would just be Eren. But I mean, I guess it was, so.
Yeah. I think it's brown
Yes.
hair, actually.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that
yeah,
up.
it's dark
Just in
brown.
case somebody at home is like, what is he talking about? Black hair?
Black
Yeah.
hair. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Your mob psycho's outlined in green.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, so Aaron comes back as a Titan, beats the shit out of all these people. They retreat briefly. They figure out how to seal this hole. They don't trust Aaron because he's kind of a
Titan.
There's this whole deal with that. And then they get back into business, and then Aaron becomes a Titan and plugs the hole that's in their city, which through Titans are leaking.
Man, there was a whole episode
Yeah.
where Aaron and Mikasa and Armin
Armin,
are
yeah.
just standing together, and the like leader of that squad in the military is standing across from them.
Yeah.
And they're
Just yelling?
The whole
Yeah.
episode is them yelling at each other 20 meters apart.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm good. We don't know if you're good. Are you human or not? Blah.
I call him scaredy Amish guy because he
Yeah.
looks like a frightened Amish man.
Yeah.
That whole thing just like reminded me of Dragon Ball Z. He's like, they stretched out a question of "Are you human?" for a whole episode. He's like,
Yeah.
"Are you human?" He's like, "What does he mean?" Just answer the question, man. Even if you don't know what his motivation, just answer that you're human.
Yeah,
Like,
they're covered by like the smoke that comes off of a
Yeah.
Titan body, but
They
the smoke
stretched
is
that
there
out
the
way
whole
too long.
episode.
Yeah.
A lot of times in this show, they spend like almost half an episode that's supposed to be like an elongated 15 like seconds
uh-huh.
of
Yeah.
like things that are happening. Where it's like that whole Battle for Trost arc, which was like 9 episodes or
Way
whatever.
too long.
That was actually like a day or something like that. So a lot of shit happens in like a very stretched out amount of time, I guess.
I gotta say,
Man,
like,
I'm glad their enemy isn't Frieza. Still be watching the show.
Still be charging up.
Yeah.
even though we're obviously complaining about the struggle for Trost being 9 episodes long,
Yeah.
my first time watching it, I didn't mind because I was binge watching it all in a row.
Yeah.
It seemed like it made sense. At least I was learning something new every episode.
Exactly,
If I
yeah.
was watching this week by week as it aired, I'd be pretty pissed. Which
Yeah.
makes me hesitant about
Yeah.
Attack on Titan Season 2. I feel like, what if it's just one issue they're dealing with for the whole 12 episodes?
Well,
That's a thing.
yeah, I was wondering
Yeah.
about that too. Like, this show does a good job, like you said, of like keeping you interested. Like every episode at the end, you're still like, all right, let's go. Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
There's always new information, like you said, so it's not ever boring.
or at least one
Yeah.
piece of new information.
Yeah.
But I was happy to know that the second season is 12 episodes. I was like, all right, this is going to be tighter. I hadn't considered that it's just one issue. I really hope not. Oh
just
man,
one
we know
excursion
nothing
out of
about
the
season
walls,
2.
yeah.
We haven't started watching it yet.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
so we shouldn't speculate right now
Yeah.
because we're just
Yeah.
going to sound like dummies because we're going to be totally wrong as to what it is.
That's
yeah.
kind of funny though.
Yeah.
So do you want to go back to the characters real quick? Talk about who we're introduced to and kind of like who dies, basically.
Yeah, so I guess we might as well just talk about the top 10 soldiers
Yeah,
that you're
yeah.
introduced to.
So
there's
there's
like Sasha is number 10. I
Sasha.
think.
Sasha
Well, I mean, let's go over the main
Perez?
3 characters.
Oh, yeah,
first.
that's the way to
Like,
yeah.
that'll
So-
probably be easier.
Aaron's become a pretty good soldier at this point. He is still mostly driven by his will and is kind of impulsive. Mikasa is still the most proficient out of everybody and is just a killing machine and the most badass and the most fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wait, one thing I also want to say is that everyone refers to Aaron as like that homicidal maniac just because he's just like, I'll kill them all. You know, he's like
Yeah.
goes crazy.
I mean,
Or because he seems to be the only one truly eager to get out of the
Yeah,
walls. Yeah.
Right. And Armin and Mikasa are more like, well, if Aaron's going, we'll go. Like Mikasa's like, I will protect Aaron at all costs. And Armin's like, I don't know.
what are your thoughts on Armin? Do you think he's a crybaby? I hated him at first, but then I realized I had like a moment where I was like, wait, he's kind of the Samwise in this situation. He's like the trusty
Armin's
friend.
great. He's a little
Armin's-
annoying at the beginning, but he's
Yeah.
great.
He's fantastic, but
Oh, whoa, dude, that is so not the response that I had. Like, great and fantastic are not two
I mean,
words
now
that I give.
after watching this like 4 times,
Yeah.
I think he's fine.
I've
Or,
only
like,
watched
good.
it once. I found him annoying at the beginning, but I liked him at the end.
Like-
First watch, I hated him. I was like, stop crying. Stop.
Yeah.
Just suck it up. Get it together, you fucking baby. I get it. You're smart. You're not good for anything beyond planning.
Yeah. Like, I like him. I don't get how everybody's calling him a master genius. And then in every episode, people will be like, Armin, what should we do? And he'll be like, I think we should just, like, go around them and then slice their necks. And they're like, wow, you are a true genius. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
You just said what everyone was thinking.
And if
Yeah.
not that, he just has PTSD and is like shaking and crying and blubbering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to Mikasa because I want to jump back after you said that, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, she's amazing.
She is so cool because I feel like she's driven entirely by Aaron almost because of her
Yes.
like her past. we learn, I think it's within like the Trust episodes actually, that like her family was killed and Aaron saved her and then made her part of his family when they were kids.
Yeah.
And ever since then, she's kind of felt like indebted
Seems like
to
she
him.
has like some debt to him, but it's
Yeah.
obviously more than that because
It's like,
there's so many points where they're like, "Oh, we'll save your boyfriend," and then she's like, "It's not like that." But then
family.
she like pauses.
Yeah.
There's something there.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, so of all the animes we've watched thus far, there hasn't been like a really kick-ass, awesome female character,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it was like. Oh no, I guess the major, but like
In Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was just awesome to just see some like badass, like she's so much better at fighting than everyone else.
She's
she
like,
just like kicks ass. She's fearless. She's like, oh man, it was just really
I
pleasing.
kind of wish she had more to say, but also I guess she's taking on the mantle of being like the edgelord character.
Yeah. I was about to complain and say that she's like really one-dimensional and all she is just this badass character, but she doesn't do much else or say much else. But everybody in the show is one-dimensional.
and that's actually a complaint because I said like I said before, it's hollow. I feel like every character is like pretty hollow.
Yeah.
Besides maybe like Jean.
Dude, yeah, actually, Jean is the
Jean's
most...
pretty
I love
great.
Jean.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because he's
He's
really
the only character that's not. But like for Mikasa, what she's worth, considering almost every character is hollow, Mikasa's awesome.
yeah.
I hope she's more fleshed out in season 2. I really hope so because I think there's a lot to explore there.
One thing I do like is the brohood that they introduced between Jean and Armin. They
Right,
just seem to
yeah.
be talking all the time and like
Yeah.
together and doing shit,
Yeah.
which I think is cool.
And
Yeah.
then there's like the brohood between the side characters like Marco, who you can't really put your finger on for the first couple times you watch the first season.
I
because-
definitely couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he like my first time I was like, Marco, who the fuck is Marco? But like now watching it, I'm like, yeah, it's the guy with freckles.
Yeah.
Because that's his distinguishing feature.
Yeah.
And the fact that he like backs Jean and then he dies off screen. It's like, okay.
Yeah. But like Jean was very interesting because he's the person that we actually see some character development from, right?
Yeah, because he starts off
initially
like,
he's like,
cocky.
yeah, I want like a cushy life. I just want to be in the military police. And then while the rookies are just finishing their training, the invasion of Trust happens, and then he sees battle firsthand. He sees Marco, his friend, die.
He actually doesn't.
Oh,
because-
sorry, yeah, no, sorry, Marco dies. And that makes him, I guess, realize that he won't be just content with living a cushy life because, like, the threat of the Titans is real and they have to do something. And he even says, like, I'd rather be with the military police, but I, like, have to do this.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
And that was great. Like, one character is fleshed out and it's Sean.
He's kind of pushed.
great, man.
He's kind of pushed into this leadership role that he didn't ask for and he didn't want to begin with. But it's like, oh, he's good at it. And like when he sees these people around him, of which who die based on his orders, he's like, fuck, I don't know if this is for me, but I'm the only one with like the stones to do this, basically.
Yeah, in the Battle of Trust, because they're just rookies. Like, the real guys aren't there. The real boys aren't there yet.
Even
Real boys.
Yeah.
Even when Mikasa like tries to take hold of the situation, like after she finds out that Aaron dies, and you think like, oh, she's composed. And here's my qualm. It's like I think she is a complex character, but they don't show it enough, and they don't show it very well. Like one of the examples here, when she takes control, or like at least tries to take control of the situation, you can tell there's like a weird internal battle going on with her where she's like trying to suppress the fact that she's just heard that like the last family member she has is dead. And she's trying to like kind of rally everyone, but she does like a weird job of it. Like John even says, he's like, that was a shitty speech. Anyways, guys, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Because she's like, yeah, fuck all of you. You're a bunch of weaklings. I'm gonna go kill all these people. And then she just
runs off.
through. She blasts through all her gas and like goes crazy basically and tries to kill herself. And then has a revelation.
Yeah.
But
she essentially like gives up for a moment.
Yeah, so I think she's complex in that, right? That she's not always a badass. She does have vulnerabilities.
Right.
I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, like she's vulnerability, which is Aaron.
Yeah. But I mean,
Doesn't give as
thing
much
is,
of a shit about Armin.
Definitely.
But
she is capable of feeling.
yeah,
Right.
of course.
She's not just an edgelord.
That's
Yeah.
true. Who are the other big characters?
So
there?
we've got
Krista.
Yeah, there's Krista, which is Potato Girl.
No,
it's Sasha.
she's the goddess.
Sorry, yeah, right.
Sasha Potato Girl, who I love.
Yes.
She's like goofy at the beginning. She likes eating potatoes.
She's kind of like a mini Hanji, who were like, introduced.
Who's another character?
That was like
that's true, actually.
Yeah,
right. That was like the series' first comedic relief moment, which is Hanji eating the potato.
Oh yeah.
And also like watching the show again, there's so much. Well, not so much, but like there's a lot of like very brief comedic moments that were completely lost on me the first time I watched the show. Like I didn't even notice because I was being tossed around left and right by like all the left hooks that it gives you. It's like, oh, like, well, guess what? All these guys are dead now. There's some comedic relief, like that one bald dude with the mustache always drinking from his flask.
Yeah,
there's the guy on his horse who always tries to talk to Aaron while they're riding on horse.
Tongue.
His tongue bleeding. It's so stupid.
Or Connie Springer, who's just described as stupid.
Yes.
Yeah, but I never see an example of him being stupid.
He's not stupid, but everyone who refers to him is like, yes, Connie Springer, the stupid one. And he's like, it's because I'm stupid, right?
Something
At least he knows it. That's more refreshing.
Yeah. Something that just crossed my mind is that we're only seeing the lives of like the 10 best soldiers from this year of soldiers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what about the weaker soldiers? But then I just realized that they're all dead.
They all died. Even some of the best soldiers died, dude.
That's true.
Everybody is Titan fodder. There's no real line distinguishing.
You'd probably say, like, aside from Jean and maybe Sasha, and then I guess one other character that I feel like we should discuss later.
Annie is who you're talking about. Right?
Yeah, they're like pretty forgettable, like the rest of them.
Yeah.
So, but we should move on to the upper level. Captain Levi.
Yeah.
And Commander Erwin.
Yeah,
Erwin,
like Erwin. Yeah,
yeah, but they say Erwin in the dub.
Yeah,
they say Erwin. For sure. It's not.
Okay.
It's like a V. I'm so sure.
I'm gonna call him,
even
though it's with the W.
Erwin, just because it's easier.
Yeah, Erwin.
Yeah. So those guys have been around for a long time. Like you got to assume at least 5+ years.
The veterans.
Yeah.
Especially Erwin.
So there's Levi and his team, which is Petra, the cutie, guy with gray hair who bites his tongue, who's a badass, Donkey Kong.
Who's Donkey Kong?
That's great that you know their names.
I think it's Gunther,
I just know Petra.
because he has.
There's the guy with the facial hair on his chin.
Smelly guy, Sniffles.
I don't know, but I know that he's voiced by Vic M, the guy who voices
Edward
Elric from Full Metal.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same guy we're referring to, but it's the guy who sniffs a lot. And he's like a really good scout because he's got a good nose.
I don't know. Yeah.
There's a quote that I wrote.
People that Levi is the captain of. Right. His is called this like the scout regiment or like the special ops or something like that. Like it's like his
changes
is the most
between
elite.
subs, but like I refer to them as like the scout regiment. Or scouting legion. So there's all of them who I guess they die the most because they're always heading out on missions to sort of expand the reach of humanity.
Yeah, so just remind me, there are the scouts who go like outside the walls. There's the military police that are like in the very middle, like guarding the most center of the population, I believe. Yeah. What are the garrison? Are they just on the walls?
I don't know. I feel like there's something like that. They don't. I don't think they go like a ton into it.
Yeah,
but I think they're just on the walls.
Yeah, I think they're wall peeps.
The garrison, they man the cannons that don't work all that well.
Right, their whole job is to man the cannons. Yeah.
There's a quote that I wrote down just regarding when Sniffles is introduced. That I found really funny. Hanji says, "That's like it's written Mike, but I guess his name is Mike. That's Mike Zacharias, also a squad leader. He has a habit of smelling people he meets for the first time and then sneering.
Super weird.
I don't think it means anything though.
That is weird.
I
so sorry. It's the garrison, the recon corps, and the military police. So Levi's squad is, I think, the scouts, and they're part of the recon corps or something like that.
It's all the same shit. The Wings of Freedom. Blue and white. Those guys. So is that it for our
like the main character?
Well, we didn't really describe Levi. So he's like very serious.
He's stern. He's talented.
And like by the book, and he's like obsessed with cleanliness. Also,
he's a bit of a
quirk. We get like the good shot of him opening the window
with his bandana and his face mask on, his maid outfit.
Yeah, and he like never really shows facial expressions.
Yeah.
He's very serious.
And then we've got Commander Erwin.
He's also
Oh,
Levi's also maybe a bigger badass than Mikasa. Or like at least on par.
Yeah, he's more experienced.
Yeah.
He's like very short, which is also people
He's
like
a little
misjudge
man,
him.
yeah.
But so Commander Erwin is
Just call him, yeah.
He's like an excellent commander who seems to have a lot of foresight when it comes to kind of what their plan is, and he's really good at anticipating what will happen next.
Yeah.
He's so cool because it always seems like he's got this plan that is beyond us,
No one
the viewers,
knows, yeah.
and the rest of his team, but they just have to follow him because he really knows what he's doing.
Like Levi doesn't even know the plans. Like there's a point, which we'll discuss, where he just tells Levi to do something, and he's just like, just follow my orders.
Yeah.
He's always like
You'll
2
know
steps
why.
ahead of
Yeah.
everybody else. And even if it's leading to his people dying, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And he's
apparently.
always really ominous, doing things like hovering over Aaron's shoulder, like, who's the real enemy here?
Yeah, that was like creepy and great. And I was like, wait, what? And then the episode ended.
Yeah.
And then I watched the next one.
You can tell
That's
who
what
he
the
is
show
because of
does.
his distinct eyebrows.
Yes.
He's got
Yeah, they're
they've got a
very-
look.
Eyebrows.
Furrowed.
Very important.
Yes.
And then the last, I guess, important character you would say is Commander Hanji.
Which is like the scientist lady.
Yeah.
She's so funny. I love her.
She's a weirdo.
She's
and
so
the source
out there.
of most of the comedic relief in the show.
Yes.
Because she takes such a lighthearted approach to the Titans, where everybody's like all doom and gloom and like, this is the bane of humanity. She's like, oh my god, I love them. I'm gonna give them names and pet them and poke at them and figure out how they work, because that's how we're gonna kill them all.
Yeah, exactly. So her motivation is the more we can learn about the Titans and dissect them, that's the way we'll figure out how to beat them.
I'm pretty sure there's even a point where I don't know if it's Aaron, but someone brings up, it's like, why is she so easygoing about all this? And then she's like, I've seen plenty of my friends die. This is just how we beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes her really interesting.
So now, we've kind of fleshed out all the characters
Main
to
cast.
a certain degree. So we can probably move on to the next arc. So we've said that Aaron helped, now in his Titan form, he helped plug the wall with the giant boulder to take back trust.
Yeah.
And now they realize like we can use Aaron to
As
do
a
more.
tool.
Like he's the way to actually make a difference.
It's like, this is our trump card. This is the first time we've ever had a leg up on the Titans.
Yeah, that happens in like the 3-episode arc called The Eve of the Counterattack.
Yeah.
Where they're like deciding whether or not he's evil or good, or like the scouts are going to have ownership over him and like deal with that shit.
Good God, how many counterattacks have there been so far?
Another point to bring up is like Aaron doesn't know how this like happened to him, but there's a flashback in season 2 episode 2, which shows his dad like giving him a needle.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry, Aaron, like, you know, you're gonna forget this, but you're gonna need to know this later.
It's
like,
so
you
I
weird
wanted
how
to
they
bring that
it
up
yeah.
because the way they do it, like at least I couldn't tell if it's a flashback to something that happened years before even the first episode took place,
or if it was more recent.
happened in between Wall Maria taken down.
When they're training?
Really? No.
Like
he looks
he's
young.
No, he's young when he's doing it, but I'm wondering if like his dad came back and like knocked him out and gave him the shot after that wall was taken.
That's
Does
the
that
thing.
make sense?
It's like
Yeah.
it's a fuzzy memory, so it's like even like
We
and
don't
we're
really
shown
right
the
now.
memory, and we're shown the memory after that first wall is taken.
Yeah,
so I'm
that's
wondering,
right,
when
yeah.
does it happen?
it's like weirdly
Anyway.
presented. But
So
I guess that's
dad-
to its credit as like a
and
mysterious
another
flashback.
reason why is because the wall is taken. Aaron doesn't have the key around his neck, I believe, and then we get the flashback of his dad
it
giving
is.
him the
That's
key
a
and
good
shit,
point. Yeah.
and then he
then
wakes up
has,
with the key. Yeah.
So he has a key to the basement of his house, and there's some secrets in there that will help beat the Titans.
and
That's
this
what we
seems
think.
to be the goal of the show, at least.
Right, it becomes a big like
Yeah.
That's what they're like.
plot point.
They just like trust Aaron, like, so we'll go to your basement then.
Yeah.
I guess that's where
New
it is.
mission, guys. He has a basement.
They're like,
But I
hey,
mean-
we think you're evil as fuck, and we kind of want to kill you, but I trust that this basement's lit. So we're gonna go.
Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, listen, he turns into a monster. Maybe let's see what's in his house.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, the main driving plot point at this point.
And this leads them. I don't know if this, like the basement specifically leads them to this, but
Right.
the next arc, which is 6 episodes, is the 57th exterior scouting mission.
I think that is like the goal when they set out.
Are they really trying to get to the basement during that?
Yeah,
Well-
it's like I found that a bit confusing too.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is probably the goal on paper, but sneaky Mr. Irwin
Doesn't let anybody know.
knowing what he knows and not telling anybody probably has some intel on like a female Titan, because he and Hanji team up to, oh yeah, wait, this is after the Titans in captivity die, and then he pokes around asking people these ominous questions and seeing who responds in a way that he likes. And I guess that makes his inner circle of people who know what's going on. And their mission, I guess, is to oust whoever's fucking them up within their ranks.
Yeah.
I just want to pause for a second and say it's jokes that was his method, that he's like, who do you think the real enemy is? And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, never mind.
Forget it.
That's
It's
the best thing you can come up with. Like, just kidding, man. See you tomorrow. Like, what?
Great. He has a really strange roundabout way of getting his information. Right.
I gotta say, when they're leaving the walls, going on this like exterior scouting mission, and they explain the whole formation that they go in and how they're going to use different signal flares depending on like what they see.
All over my head.
They just like it took me a little bit to understand
they've got a thing going on.
But somehow I found it like fascinating. They found like a way to make something incredibly boring, I suppose.
Riding on horses for miles and miles.
Yeah, this like formation thing is crazy.
Yeah.
And like getting to see the different points of view from everybody being split up from one another.
Right. Yeah. You get like a little map graphic in the side showing where they are in the formation, which is cool.
It's pretty cool.
Also, Titans outside of an area where there's like room to use the 3D MG gear.
Yeah. You're going by the Japanese term. The 3D gear.
Yeah. It's like almost tense where it's like, okay, how many of them are going to die?
You mean where they can't use the gear?
Where it's like they're not able to because they're in like big open fields. But it's also a really nice change of pace in regards to like the visuals of the show.
Right,
if you want to talk about that now, maybe.
Well, I gotta say, this is the classic Spider-Man problem. There's a reason why he doesn't leave New York City.
Yeah.
It's because he wouldn't be able to swing anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Spider-Man, it's like, damn, if they don't swing around like goddamn Spider-Man.
Yeah, I actually wrote like cool web slinging in the first time they did it.
The action in this show is maybe one of the biggest selling points here. It just looks so good and it's just so engaging. But they give it to you in very small doses.
Dude, there'll be like a small 20-second section of them just going off and swinging throughout the city.
Right.
There's a few moments like that. Like, I don't know, I just want to quickly maybe bring up a few of them.
Yeah.
There's like right when they learn how to balance on their ODM gear, they have a sick scene of them like swinging through the city.
Right.
There's one when Aaron is going berserk and then he gets his like leg chomped off and gets eaten.
His whole team gets wrecked out the gate.
That swooping shot of him going in is so cool.
Beautiful.
Dude, I think when Mikasa, or maybe it's when Mikasa and Aaron are both swinging together into the city and it switches POVs between them while they're swinging, so badass.
Anytime the camera's just swirling around them and there's like cool low angles and like a mix of like 3D, but it's not corny and like it's just like beautiful. It's so good.
Yeah, to quickly bring up, this show does 3D well. Like, to a point where you almost don't notice.
Except when they show you bells.
Yes. That's actually... Brennan, I was waiting to bring that up. My note was like, why did they choose to make the bell 3D? Because, like, I think that was the first 3D thing in the show. Before the action really gets going,
and it's so
you see the bell, and I was like, what the...
Okay, honestly, this is part of why...
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to talk about the art style now...
bell.
It kind of, like my first time watching this, the thicker lines kind of threw me for a loop. I was kind of like, I'm not really used to this. I kind of don't like this.
Right.
And then they came at me with the bells and I was like, ew, man, stop. And then like the first 5 episodes were more or less just brown because all of their uniforms are brown and they're all on the rooftops. And it's just like, oh God, when's this going to look any better? That kind of turned me off initially, but I kind of got used to it. And then later on in the season when they go outside, the color palette changes. There's more green capes, green trees, green fields.
Right.
And it's just like, wow, this is beautiful now. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's nice that they pulled us out of that like 8-episode rut of just like brown and then blood everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is that the thick lines bothered me at first as well.
Yeah.
But I got used to them and then it became cool to see. Because other anime right now, at least, or the ones that I'm watching, don't look like Attack on Titan.
It's very unique.
Yeah, you can see something in Attack on Titan, like a character out of the main uniform, and you're like, that's a character from Attack on Titan. Even if they're not one of the main people.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, the colors in like the town all look the same.
Yeah.
It has like a similar color scheme all throughout, but at least the environments are like highly detailed. The environments in this... I was going to say game. In the show,
this game.
look like really well drawn, well detailed. But I guess that's why they all like look the same generally.
Right,
but at least they're detailed.
So, okay, so we were talking about, like, they're going to the basement.
Yeah.
And, like, is that their mission? But then it's to capture the female Titan. But it's weird because we haven't seen the female Titan yet.
We have no
idea. So, like, we assume that... Because I want to talk about this with you guys. So, are we to assume that Erwin knew about the female Titan and that's what this mission was?
Maybe he did.
Because, like, what... I don't... Right? Because it's like they're leaving to go and get to the basement, I think, right?
Yeah, here's what I think... What like the flow of logic was. I think Erwin knew that there was like a traitor amongst them, and I think maybe he had the wherewithal to, having already seen like the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan, and knowing that they move a lot differently and they show intelligence compared to like a normal Titan, that they might have some sort of humanity within them.
Right, because in Aaron's proof of that humans can transform into Titans.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe he figured someone else has Aaron's ability, and someone who is fighting on the side of the Titans, I guess, to extinguish humanity is within their ranks. And the best way to like oust them is to go on this mission and see how they might try to fuck it up. Basically.
And like they would probably assume that they would go after Aaron because he's the threat. Like he's humanity's hope.
Exactly. Right. That is exactly what happens. So either they're gonna kidnap him and maybe like force him into like being on the Titan side, or just kill him because he's in their way, or he's gonna be like a vital link in humanity figuring out the true nature of the Titans. So that's why he's like the target. So Aaron is basically bait in this whole mission,
right? And the whole
it works.
Reason. So the whole reason for this mission is to capture the female Titan. Then, whether or not they knew it was a female Titan specifically,
the traitor
is to capture
like the traitor, though.
The traitor. Who's also...
I guess they weren't expecting a Titan. Probably.
Well, they were though, because like all that stuff set up in the forest, right?
But
they must have assumed it was going to be
a gear is made to capture Titans alive.
Yes. Right, so to capture the traitor, but he must have had some kind of inclination.
But, I mean, like, are we supposed to believe that like there's horse carriages carrying this stuff anyways, and they just happen to set it up really quickly? Like the first few groups,
I guess so. But how would they know to bring it there? Right,
like it's like they're
like, how would they know we need to capture a Titan in this mission?
Their formation is so spread out that they can't really see one another once they're riding. They have to use flares to communicate with each other. They probably wouldn't know that like one carriage was carrying all this gear. And since they were ahead of everybody, they had a chance to set up and sort of lure the female Titan into this trap, which was the point of the mission.
So but maybe could that be a plot hole then? Is that unbelievable? Because it kind of sounds a little bit unbelievable, right?
No,
because we know that there's a traitor. Fine. Yeah. We can...
Erwin knows
we don't know that, but we can figure out that Aaron knows that there's a traitor. But we don't... How does Aaron know that the traitor is also...
a Titan?
Yeah.
Okay, well...
He doesn't necessarily.
Let me ask you this.
He knows it's possible.
Let me ask you this. If there's a traitor amongst them, whose side are they betraying to? What are the two sides?
No,
here?
absolutely.
There's Titans and there's
but
humans.
That doesn't necessarily mean that the traitor is going to be a Titan.
But it
doesn't necessarily. Yeah, it could be. So maybe we can say that was set up as a precaution in case
they were a Titan.
That's what was going to happen. Like an abnormal. They say in case an abnormal comes after us, whether or not it's the traitor. An abnormal could come after them.
Yeah,
but maybe they're one and the same, and that's why he had this forest gear set up.
And
okay, I guess that's fine.
I guess the gear, like the reason why they might have had the gear also is because like the scientist lady wanted to capture more Titans because her last two just got killed.
Exactly.
The reason why they're set up in the forest, like just imagine all these people are so spread out. By the time the first people get to the forest, you probably have time to set this stuff up before the Titan actually gets there.
Exactly.
So
So from the beginning, that must have been where Erwin and Hanji were heading. Like when the formation broke, they were almost like heading to the forest, right? Because they were set up and ready there.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, their plan was to lead everybody there one way or another.
It's like
they made it seem like a detour, but
but
previously and after.
No one knew what was going on. They were like, why are we coming to this tourist destination? This is the stupidest thing. Also, why are we splitting up? The middle section isn't going to know when Titans come on their side. But it was all just part of Erwin's plan. And the whole point of that is like trusting, I guess, his vision.
That he's just an excellent commander, I guess. Which is like, it's a leap, but I guess, it works, I guess.
Speaking of leaps, there's that whole quote that Levi drops on Aaron, and we find is like important to Levi's character almost in the OVAs, where he's like, no one knows how the mission is going to turn out at the end of the day.
Right.
You just have to make decisions. And the importance here is like that your decisions will inform your future decisions, and that's all there ever is you making decisions and just living with the consequences.
Right. Something I want to bring up quickly before I forget is when they left this wall and they were like in this forest area, I was like confused for a bit. I thought like, are they outside the third wall? Is that why there's so much forest here?
Right.
It didn't like, I couldn't comprehend at the very beginning there being forested areas within their walls. I thought it'd be like so retreated that it'd be all villages.
Exactly
I thought so too. That was a bit confusing.
You don't
for
get
me.
a proper scale of like actually how big like the land rings are within the walls.
Yeah.
That like when you see them quote unquote outside the walls, they're not really outside the confines of known humanity. Yeah. This is just the abandoned area that they had to retreat from when they got fucked over, basically. I
also wonder if there's actually a reason for every single scout mission outside of the walls. Because sometimes, or like, at least the way it came off to me at first is that they go on these scout missions just like generally sometimes to see what the situation outside the walls is like, seeing like, oh, can we take back the wall today? Oh, maybe not. Let's turn back around. But like, so whether or not there was a specific purpose for this, like catching a traitor is like up in the air. I don't know what they reveal in season 2, but like, I'd like to believe it's up in the air. They might not have known. Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of the traitor, I want to ask Dylan something. Yeah. Did you catch on? Did you figure out it was Annie before they revealed it?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, well.
Really?
Did I figure out before they revealed it?
Before the episode where Annie's like, I'm the female Titan. Yeah, turns into the Titan.
So I say, hold on. I have a note in episode 18. Oh, no, sorry, 19. Episode 19. I wrote, I couldn't remember her name, so I said, my last note on episode 19 is, any chance the girl who pretends not to care is the female Titan? Question mark.
Yeah. Right. I feel like
I caught on. In the previous episode, I was like, wait, is Krista the female Titan? Because I was privy to, like, I was, like, she was a blonde girl.
And I was narrowing down the blondes,
Yeah, so I saw her first, and I was like, maybe. And I actually, my note is, wait, is Krista the female Titan? Question mark. No, right? Period. And then at the end of 19, I was like, the girl, like, or the girl who pretends not to care. So Annie, I was like, is she it? She must be, right?
Did you catch on your first time, Sean?
My first time watching the show, not really. Like, I think I still clued into it a little bit before it happened.
Yeah.
Especially when they introduced Annie back into the show in the last arc.
It's like, why are they showing
at the beginning of episode 23, I was like, oh, knew it.
Yeah, exactly. When she's the only one out of the main group who didn't join the scouts. She joins the MB.
Right, yeah.
I can say, like, I wasn't for sure, but I figured, like, I was like, what are the chances? It's got to be someone we've been introduced to, right? I was starting to think that, and then when it started with Annie, my note from that is, starts with showing Annie, she is the Titan, in all capitals, with a question mark and an exclamation mark. Like, I was still kind of like, is she? But I was like, she's got to be. There's no way she's not at the beginning of 23.
Watching this,
I was that confident.
Now, after so many times watching it, it's like stupidly obvious that it's Annie.
Yeah,
it's like she's the only one. Her face looks like the female Titan's face.
Yeah,
like beyond her being blonde.
Okay.
So it's like my first time watching it, I actually had no idea. Like, even when they were doing the operation with Annie, that seemed suspicious. Until the very moment she busted the ring out, I was like, oh my god, it's her, right? Because there were just so many things, so many, like, red flags along the way where I was like, but that doesn't make sense. Why would she be the female Titan? Because I was like, okay, so the traitors within their ranks in the Scouting Legion, it has to be one of them. But she's in the military police. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And when they cut to her in episode 23, it wasn't, like, blatantly obvious to me. I wasn't like, oh, they're showing us her after so long, it's definitely her.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, they're probably just giving us a recap on what's going on outside of the Scouting Legion.
Yeah. So now that you bring it up, I don't think I clued into it either until that moment when they're about to bring her down into the tunnel.
And she starts laughing.
Yeah.
She does the 90s evil anime girl.
But she goes, she's insane.
Yeah. Like,
she starts blushing.
Because, like, I was watching it my first time in Japanese, and, like, back then, definitely, partly because it was in Japanese, but other reasons as well, I was like, all the characters are melding together, and, like, so many people look alike. There's two blonde girls that I'm supposed to know.
They they wear the same uniform.
But neither of them are in the show that much.
One of them's a goddess.
Yeah, one of them has one scene where she's nice to guys, and the other one is one scene where she flips a guy over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of which, that's another one of like the funny scenes that I didn't even take in as a funny scene, because Aaron is literally folded in half on his back and looks at Reiner and is like, "Yeah, you try now."
And then he gets flipped too.
And he is also folded in half.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So one thing I want to. So also, I forgot to say that my end note of episode 23 is "I knew it" in all capitals.
Yeah.
But Brennan, you said something really funny. You're just like, it looks like Annie, and that's exactly right. My favorite thing in episode 24, or one of my favorite things, is when they discuss the evidence they have against Annie. They're like, we're not sure, but here's why we think it's Annie. So they're like, the traitor has killed the Titans that were, captured. So they'd have to be good with ODM gear. Annie is.
Yeah.
Armin's like, I noticed Annie brought Marco's gear to be checked, not her own.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's like good. And she's like, and she didn't kill me when she saw me. Like, why would she do that? It has to be someone that knows me. And then she's like, and Annie responded when Armin referred to Aaron as the homicidal maniac. So it has to be someone that trained with us, right?
Right, yeah.
And then Mikasa's like, also, the Titan kind of looks like Annie. I'm like, of course, that's like the read with that. And then it's crazy because like
they do the face
but Aaron's like, are you kidding? She looks like her? Like, that's your evidence? Like, are you an idiot, Aaron?
But they
like,
show you.
Yeah.
They do the face transposition where it's like, Titan Annie, Titan Annie.
And that goes back to me, like, bringing up how everybody says Armin's a genius. He's, like, bringing up all of these, like, points that aren't totally necessary.
Yeah.
And Mika says just, like, they look exactly the same.
Yeah. And then the other funny thing is, all of them, I noticed in that scene, like, when they're talking, they're like, oh my gosh, not Annie. They were not that close with her. She kept her distance. She was quiet.
Cold
she
to all of them.
Yeah. She's hung back, and then she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go join the military, please.
Fuck
and
you guys.
that's
Bye.
it. You're like, Annie, no. Like, you didn't know Annie.
Wait, something I want to bring up just really quick is remember how we listed the top 10, like, soldiers from their year?
Yeah.
2 of them, the second and third place guys, are guys that we haven't named yet. I bet you guys don't even know their names. I don't know their names. They're just randos.
I can tell you what their names are.
I don't know.
Oh no, it's Reiner and Bernard. So Reiner,
Who's Bernard?
Okay, so I said Bernard like I knew him, but I don't.
Yeah.
But Reiner, I think Reiner and Bernard are friends, and they're the 2 guys who are also from an outside village.
Right, yeah.
Like that they bond with Aaron and Armin about, like, you saw the Titans.
In their
I
top
think that's
bunk.
who Bernard is, yeah.
Yeah, where he's
definitely
like,
Reiner is one
so
of
you
them.
guys have seen the Titans, right? I think that's his line.
They both die,
that.
yeah, I think.
Do they?
No, Reiner's still alive.
Okay,
Reiner's
then
alive.
I think Bernard dies.
I don't know if Bernard dies or not.
I love how offended Brennan sounds right now for characters he didn't know existed 30 seconds ago.
Wait,
Bernard's alive!
I did know Reiner's alive.
Right.
Yeah,
Reiner,
Reiner
in my last maybe 2 watches, I realized who Reiner is.
Right.
Because he's, like, relatively important because he's one of the more capable characters.
Mm-hmm.
He's always giving Annie shit, and also he cuts through her hand when we think he gets, like, smooshed.
He does that, like, sick Beyblade spin.
He does the patented Levi Beyblade spin.
Yeah.
Reiner does that.
Yeah, Reiner does that.
Doesn't Reiner die right after? No,
No.
the other guy dies that was with him. One of them gets killed. There's 3 of them who are talking.
No, it's Jean, Reiner, and
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah,
Armin,
yeah.
and they all make
Right.
it.
Oh, yeah, you're
They're
right.
saved by Krista.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, no,
Saved
yeah,
as
they
in
get
she gives
away,
them
and
the
then
horse.
Krista,
Yeah.
Krista brings the horse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so we've moved on from, like, the 57th excursion, blah, 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 to the assault on Stohess, which is when they're just trying to corner Annie and, like, make her confess and shit.
Right,
And
so
even-
I guess we can say that they discover the female Titan, then they try to capture the female Titan.
Yes.
She lets out a scream and lets herself be cannibalized. Sorry, this is going back
That's
to...
back when they're in the forest.
in the forest, they capture her. She lets herself be cannibalized.
Yeah.
And then she's, like, in her ODM gear and just hunts down Levi's squad.
It's the saddest thing ever, man.
We have to talk about that. And okay, and before that, once again, Commander Erwin's just like, Levi, refill your gas, get new blades. He's
Yeah,
like, why?
because
He's like, just do it.
Erwin's always 5 steps ahead, dude. He knows what's going to happen.
Calling it right now, Erwin is a Titan.
Can't be.
I'm
Not
joking.
even possible. Completely undercuts his entire character motivation.
Watch, dude. This is why people are lukewarm on the next season.
Yeah.
Watch.
So yeah,
This is
so
also
then,
another way of the show fucking with your expectations,
Yeah.
being like, oh yeah? You think this character
Yeah.
is rooted in logic? No, it's not.
So my first time watching this series, when the mysterious person comes in and starts killing Levi's squad in the forest.
Yeah.
The first guy who dies is like a guy with black hair.
It's Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then now I know who you're talking about.
Gunther.
I thought, like me, just like kind of paying attention my first time watching it. I'm like, shit, did Levi just die? For like a whole episode, I'm like, Levi's dead?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
It's like, where was Levi that whole time? He was like trying to get to his squad. It was weird. That was like a weird plot hole.
That whole scene is also another cool subversion where it's playing off of the entire like line that Levi drops just before that, where he's like, it's up to you. Either trust in your friends or trust in yourself.
Right.
I don't know how this is going to turn out. And then Aaron, I guess, makes the mistake of quote unquote trusting in his friends again.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to work, but they just get
There's like
destroyed.
Okay, that's crazy because he turns back like when there's 3 guys left in the squad and like, Aaron, just keep running. We got this.
Yeah.
And they launch a stunningly beautiful attack without
so
talking.
sick.
And Aaron's
So
like,
sick.
they're so coordinated without talking. It is the most badass thing because she's covering her neck. And they're like, well, we're just going to slice her arms off then.
Yeah.
And then they just hack at her, and it's crazy. And she drops her arms. Oh, sorry, they take out her eyes first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they just hack at her arms, and you're like, holy shit,
it's
these
even-
guys are pros.
Yeah.
You're with Aaron in that moment.
It
yeah,
kind of
because they don't say a word to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it like pulls almost like on your heartstrings where like they flash back and they're like, oh, look at how close they are. They're so
Yeah.
close and they know each other so well that they don't even have to like say anything. They can just act as a unit. I guess this is what happens when you've been like a unit for so long, or you're so in tune with one another's things, and then they just get smashed up against trees, and it's like, well, there goes that.
Yeah.
It's also like that whole scene and what surrounds it is like there's 2 episodes in a row where Aaron's hanging out with the same people in the forest, and they tell him in both episodes, like, trust us, we got this, like, trust the plan, don't turn into a Titan. And he trusts them both times.
One time
it works. The second time they all die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
what's
roll
the
of
message?
dice.
Don't trust your friends.
Yeah, it's like, don't trust your friends to take care of
No,
themselves.
the message is don't trust this show because it will fuck you.
I want to bring up a point. Way earlier on this podcast, Dylan mentioned that this show like doesn't hold back and will kill anybody.
Yeah.
But I think it's reached like Game of Thrones syndrome where we've reached peak
killage.
peak killage, and the people you see now probably won't die. Although people who've watched season 2 and are listening to this
are like, you guys
know
are
that I'm
fucking
wrong.
idiots.
Yeah. But I feel like the people we see now, like if Jean died in the next episode,
You're just like, let it run out of characters.
If someone
Exactly.
dies in season 2, we should flash back to this soundbite of Sean being like, they've reached max killing.
yeah, too good.
No, but I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, don't.
I mean,
like,
you killed Krista, nobody's gonna
I'm
care.
sure.
It's gonna be
No,
fine.
I'm sure.
I'm gonna care, man.
Hold on. I'm sure a big death is coming in season 2. Like one of the characters we like,
probably.
or like that's more fleshed out is
See,
dying.
but at this point, they can't.
Maybe my
like,
boy Jean.
They can't
hope.
kill them en masse. Where it's just like, oh, did you like this squad?
Not like
no
you
more
do.
squad.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Also, something that just makes me think, it's like, with the amount of casualties they sustain, and with how like hopeless this show feels sometimes, it's like, where are they finding backups, dude? It's like, don't they have to wait for like more
year?
people to fuck and more children to be born to be like raised into adults who can maybe join the Scouting Legion at some point? Because it's like, Jesus, dude, you're losing like half your entire like regiment at a time.
right.
Like every time you go out.
Very impractical.
I think maybe if you like looked at the numbers, that might not be the case and it might make sense, but that's what the show makes you feel, which is kind of a cool thing.
Well, I guess it's worth pointing out that they've only left the walls 57 times.
Yeah,
It's a
right,
big number, but not that big.
Yeah,
Exactly.
really
like when
not
we
that
see
big.
Levi leaving, he's it's like it's the 23rd, I think.
I think it's the 23rd, yeah.
Yeah.
This is in the OVAs.
in the
Universal
OVAs,
Universe.
yeah. So when he goes out for the first time, so he's seen like more than 20 missions and he's a veteran. And like that's not even that many times to leave, I guess, the safe zone when you think about it. But I guess with the casualties they take, it's like, damn.
Right. So I guess we might as well quickly mention like this series
conclusion.
or this season ends off with like them capturing.
Right.
Yeah, so
Wait,
they
yeah.
realize that Annie's
Yeah, they
and
figure
they
Annie
figure
out.
out a plan to lure her.
They have a big fight. Aaron goes full Titan.
Well, then he can't go Titan,
Yeah.
but then he does go Titan.
Yeah, because he's having this weird moment where he's like, I swear, this doesn't happen. I got it up last time.
I swear, this never happened.
And he's just chomping away at his hand. And then he eventually comes back and they have a fight.
Yeah.
Okay, another unexpected moment of comedy in this entire like series that I don't think I picked up on the last time, because I saw this and I laughed really hard because I was like, what the fuck? When did this happen? Where they mentioned the Church of the Holy Walls or whatever.
Oh, dude, those guys are hilarious.
It's like, I guess like this sect within humanity that's sort of gained more power and influence over the years, where they consider the walls to be like a work of God or something.
Gods themselves, I think.
Something of that nature. And it's funny because they never actually talk about where the walls came from. They never say, oh, and in this like span of 10 years when no Titans fucked with us, we built these walls really quick. Because that's another thing that I was thinking about. That's like, it seems like a plot hole, but they're probably going to talk about it.
Walls?
Where did they find the time?
That is so unbelievable.
When humanity's getting like eaten on all sides, and it's like shrunken, the population's shrunken down to like the span of like a 500-kilometer like circle. Like, where do you find the time to build these giant concrete walls?
They're
so it's
huge
like,
walls.
Yeah, and you have to believe that they should be starting from the innermost wall, because that would be a gigantic wall to start with.
Exactly.
You know, like,
So-
you'd probably believe that they're building the first one, and
Yeah.
like, now we can venture out. Like, we have a small-ish wall, a relatively small wall that we've built that's secure, and we can, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of question marks
know.
around that. It's kind of weird, but I guess they'll talk about it later. But anyways, back to what was funny. There's an episode, I think it's like either the last or second last episode, where they open on like a bunch of churchgoers all in a circle. They're all talking about, they're like, yeah, the Lord of the Walls will protect us. It's so beautiful and amazing. And then blam, they just get splattered by Annie falling
goes through.
into
That's the beginning of episode 25. Yeah, that's the beginning
The
of
leader
episode
of them
25.
is like still alive for a second.
And he's just like, oh no, my religion.
Yeah.
But it is like pretty cool to see that like the wall was built like I guess 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And just like 100 years later, it's the story about it starting to be warped, and people
Exactly.
are like, oh, these walls maybe appeared out of
And
nowhere.
there's a mythos
Although I don't know
around
what
it.
they
Yeah.
believe exactly. It's like similar, it reminds me of stuff like real life. Like, what if 2,000 years ago Jesus was just a 20-year-old guy who brought wine to a party, and suddenly he's this like big figure that everybody
Someone's
believes
like,
in?
yo, you think that guy was God?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, dude, that party last night was such a rager. Was that guy God? But like, yeah, it's like similar to this thing in Attack on Titan. It's like, no, we just built walls, dude. We didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't appear out of nowhere. They're not gods. They
But
crumble.
that scene was really funny.
In like one of the commercial screens in the show, I think it says like this group of people doesn't want the walls to be interfered with, even if they're being
Reinforced
for
yeah,
defense.
It's like,
Yeah,
you
like,
better
don't
not-
touch them.
It's
Yeah.
blaspheming. Like, yeah, because
Good time to bring up before I forget that the very last shot of this series or season
There's an
ends
eye
with
popping out of the wall.
yeah, the wall crumbling a little bit, and you seeing like the eye and half the face of a Titan inside one of the walls.
It's so weird. I don't even know what to make of that.
Okay, yeah. See, the thing is, I didn't know what to make of that, but now I just started thinking about that point about it during the recording of this podcast, and I guess it's just saying that something more is going on, because there's no way some dude was laying bricks and he's just like,
I'll just cover this
like,
up.
oh shit, I guess I'll just put bricks.
Yeah, like...
Or he's like a prankster. He's like, this is gonna be
in
hilarious.
100 years,
Like,
this is going to be sick.
these guys
dude.
are gonna scream, just shh, Titan, be quiet. Just
I
like,
know I've said that like 2 other times in this podcast that we shouldn't speculate because we're going to sound like idiots to people who've seen season
That's
2.
what
but
this podcast is about.
I know we got to sound like idiots, guys.
Yeah.
But what if it's like the humans made Titans to build these walls because they wanted to have like their own nation apart from the rest of the world, and the Titans turned on them? It's like Frankenstein's creation, his monster.
You know what?
And then
So
like
the
wipes
Titans
out the
built
rest
the
of the
wall?
world.
I wouldn't put it
Dude,
past a Titan to
what if?
build a wall
Yeah.
like that.
Well, yeah, that like explains how the walls are so large and tall.
Yeah.
Also, wait, while
They don't
we're
have cranes. That'd be hard to.
yeah, just doing it by
mean,
hand, like pyramid
Chinese built
style.
a great wall, so I guess
It was a great
it's
wall.
It was
possible.
great wall.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be the best wall.
Yeah.
So wait, while we're talking about Titans, quickly let's mention the OVA episode where they give us this huge nugget of information. So there's a scout who is
Left
stranded
behind on a mission.
Yeah, and then she runs into this Titan that seems almost like it resents that it wants to eat her, speaks to her in, I guess, English or Japanese, like a language she understands, says some weird name, and then pulls out its eyes and then eats her anyways.
The thing is, he doesn't eat her. He seems to just bite her head
off,
to like stop her from screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like he doesn't want to eat her at all. He's just like tormented. He probably had interactions with humans before that,
Yeah.
and that's why he's.
And then he puts
talking
her
like that.
body inside like a hollowed out tree.
Yeah.
Almost like in a form of respect. Oh, and like it's bowing to her and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is just like unprecedented because throughout the entire series, it's almost like all Titans are very, very like dumb and have no control and just bloodlust. And then there's the humans who are Titans who have some weird ulterior motive.
It's almost
wanna
like
kill humanity.
There's
or
a
whatever.
point when Erwin, I think this is what he says,
Yeah.
is that you'd be stupid to think that Aaron and Annie are the only people who can turn into Titans.
Yeah.
There's probably
Yeah.
people like that all over our kingdom that we don't know about yet, and
Right,
we have to
yeah.
fish each and every one of them out.
That's kind of how the series
Now,
wraps up, or
what-
season 1 wraps up.
What
Right?
if like Titans eat people? And people never see this because obviously they're outside the walls, but they eat the people, they don't digest them, they just spit them back out in these clump of balls.
Yeah.
And what if those like turn into Titans? And this Titan that talked had the consciousness left over from when he was a human dude.
That's
Yes,
interesting.
I actually wrote that too. I said, what if Titans are created from those things that they were shown to spit up?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was like
Oh,
wondering
see,
about that.
I didn't think
it was a
about-
weird thing to show. And I was
That's
like,
how
what's
they
the point?
reproduce. And that's like they're like, how did Titans keep coming
interesting.
up when they don't have like reproductive organs and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
See, I didn't think about the puke that hard. My only takeaway from that episode was like, oh my god, this is so brutal. Like,
mean,
the cleanup
yeah.
is just like, they don't even eat and shit out humans. They just puke them back up because they don't have an asshole.
Right. I mean, that thought just occurred to me right now. Like,
Yeah.
in the last like 2 minutes.
But yeah, no, it's like the origin of Titans is an interesting topic, and the fact that some of them have intelligence. Like, I thought maybe there's like a human in every Titan where like they're just chilling in the back of their neck, and anytime someone like lops a piece of their neck out, they're just simultaneously killing the little man that's inside that's
Right.
controlling it. But then it wouldn't make sense because every time we've seen like, I mean, I guess we haven't seen a human-controlled Titan die yet because Annie doesn't die. She just crystallizes herself and then she gets captured.
Yeah, what the
Yeah.
hell?
And she's like being held way underground now.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think this show is like, it can be a lot deeper. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot to flesh out.
There's-
So I just hope that they do, right? There's Titans in the wall. There's the fact that Titans are in the cities. The fact that humans can turn into Titans.
What do they
The fact
want?
that maybe Titans built these walls. That's a great
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
thought about that.
There's
like, where are we going?
Yeah.
with this is
There's
crazy.
the fact that Aaron's dad gave him the power to turn into a Titan.
And
But-
seemingly Annie's dad gave her the power to turn into a Titan.
Maybe.
It seems,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She's aware, he's at least aware that she's a Titan. Because he's like, oh, they'll like hate you or something.
Yeah,
but like
right.
never
Yeah.
stop doing what you're doing, which is apparently just killing people.
Like, but then that brings in
know.
the question: like, did he give her that power? Is she born with the power? Why
Yeah.
wasn't Aaron born with the power?
Another thing,
Yeah.
it also seems so strange to me because watching the series, knowing that Annie was the female Titan, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna look for the telltale signs that show that she's a traitor. But for the first like good amount of the season, like especially during Tross and stuff, she's an active fighting member, and she is like actively fighting against these Titans, probably to cover her ass because she has to. But it also seemed weird, like she didn't have any kind of motivation to hate people beyond being an outsider. So I thought maybe somewhere in between Trost and maybe like the scouting mission, something happened and there's a change of heart and she
Right.
gained the power through some secret organization.
Or she like had the power all the time, but never ever planned on ever using it.
Right, yeah.
And the only reason why she did is because she found out that Aaron exists. She put together the pieces incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And she's like, I need to kill this guy so that they don't find out about people like me because I want to be part of humanity, but I'm not.
Right, yeah.
right, because there's literally a line in episode 23 where she says, I just want to be human or something. I just want to be normal.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See,
And
here's
so,
the
like,
thing.
there's something going on with her. Like, she's not just like a bad guy.
Yeah, like a lot of her dialogue is like,
It's weird.
there's things alluding to like, please don't blame me for wanting to survive kind of thing.
Right.
Or like, don't blame me for picking like the winning side almost kind of thing. Like she doesn't say that verbatim, but that is the feel that I got from it. Or like
Yeah.
she mentions like the state of the world and how it's a cruel world. This is a theme that like comes, a lot of characters reflect on.
Right.
Like Mikasa, Aaron, everybody talks about like, oh, this world is a cruel world. Maybe she just wants to be like at the top of the food chain, basically, where she's like, this is like, she sees the corruption on the inside. She knows that human beings are generally awful. Maybe something that happened to her dad made her think, Because we don't really know what
Yeah.
happened around her dad. We just know that he's
true.
not there anymore.
We don't know what happened around Aaron's dad too. It's crazy.
Yeah,
There's like
it's
a lot of places.
a lot of
the
missing
show can
dads.
Go.
A lot of guys went out for cigarettes and never came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't really know her motivations. Maybe we'll get more insight into that in season 2, but it just seems like the reason for her like aligning herself with I guess the Titans or whoever's been pulling the strings behind this Titan epidemic
Right.
is just survival. It's like she just wants to be and not like be on the losing side, I guess.
Yeah, I gotta say though, like discussing it with you guys now, I'm like not satisfied with the show. Like imagine, no, but like, okay, could you imagine we watched this in 2013 and then we had this discussion,
Yeah,
and we didn't know. I mean, when season 2 is coming out, like I'm satisfied to know that season 2 is here, and
Right.
I really hope some of these questions are answered. But like at this point, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, just given how I said, like I felt the show was pretty like shallow in a lot of ways. I think we really trudged through the middle.
honestly,
There's a lot of unanswered questions. It's like Lost, but like not that satisfying. You know,
I just
at
like
this
to-
point.
Right.
I just like to say,
But
real
it's like
quick-
Lost in that you don't get answers for a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
But I mean, maybe
Lost
we
answered
will.
some stuff
Yeah.
as every season.
Here's the
but
thing,
raise
I-
more questions.
Honestly, I'm not too hopeful that season 2 is going to be as satisfying as I want it to be because, like, first and foremost, it's only 12 episodes long,
Right.
and I feel like there's only so much you can cover, and especially with the pacing of the show and how we literally spent half the season focusing on one day event.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think we're going to get that many answers, and I can only hope that, like, you know, they decide to shed some light on a bunch of these questions, especially after it being 4 years. I mean,
Right. So we should talk about that a bit.
yeah, the interest.
First, like, season 1 ran from April 2013 to September 2013.
Yeah,
So it was like half a year because you
Yeah.
had 25 episodes. And season 2 started in April 2017. So
Yeah,
it
that's
debuted
crazy.
4 years to the month of the first season.
That's nuts.
also, can I just, like, I read this thing, it was an article that was talking about, like, the release in Japan, and apparently the studio put out, like, a public notice in newspapers, like, apologizing. And, like, when you see that kind of headline, you think, okay, so the guys behind this are probably apologizing because it's been so long, and, like, the hype wave has, like, come and maybe not go because it's such, like, a strong, like, merchandising franchise that it's
Yes.
just, like, everybody's still buying Attack on Titan stuff. Fandom's still alive. It's not like it's going anywhere, but it's been a long time. So maybe they're just like, sorry, guys. Sorry for keeping you waiting. But the apology was actually, we're sorry we're going to fuck up your life and your personal relationships because this season is going to consume you completely.
Yeah. So I think they released that on April 1st, so I thought it might have been like an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I'm not too sure. Not in their defense, but like just to keep everyone up to speed, between like the first season ending and the second season beginning, they had released like 5 different OVAs. Original video
That's
animations, that's what that is, which
I
are
had-
like 5 different episodes that are like spread out in between the series.
I actually didn't know about them
Yeah.
until, like, now.
Yeah. What else? And they had that like spin-off series, like Attack on Titan Junior High or like
Right.
middle school
I
or
heard
whatever.
about
the hell.
that.
Very dumb.
Yeah, it's just like
Straight up.
it's them in the school,
No
and I
chance
think
we're ever reviewing that.
I think the gates of the school are like the walls of the town. I don't even really
It's
know.
like, how do we,
I mean, maybe
how
we'll
do
review
we
that
kill
for
some
fun,
time,
but probably
guys?
not.
Yeah.
Sounds awful.
Put them in a high school.
Yeah, or like junior school or middle school or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Gross.
it's definitely interesting. Some interesting
Yeah.
stuff. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up before we
Yeah,
wrap up?
actually, I wanted to talk about the design of the Titans and how you guys might feel about it.
Terrifying.
Terrifying, yeah.
Awesome. Terrifying.
It's weird because they're all like androgynous. They're all like male. Some you can tell are male, some you can tell are female, but like, can you?
I feel like they're all supposed to be male-ish until like the female Titan, but there were a couple like female-ish looking.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
then they literally called that episode like the female Titan. So I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
she's different. I don't know.
All their faces are so creepy.
Ugh.
yeah.
It's like those like smiles, and that's what's so terrifying. It's like they're just like looking at you and they're smiling, and then they just grab you and just put you in their nose.
Yeah,
It's
like,
just like
a childlike innocence.
yeah, it's like I just want to eat you. It's crazy.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
something to bring up is like the fact that the armored Titan has like the armored plates on it, and the fact that
This is what I
the-
wanna talk
the
about.
Colossal Titan is flesh,
He
like doesn't have.
he's also
skin.
just a big fatty. He's just a big fat motherfucker. When you look at his design, like
Yeah.
at a distance, he's a box.
And what I believe is that when the wall crumbles and you see a Titan inside of it, it's like a colossal Titan. It doesn't have skin on it.
Pretty big.
See, this is what I want to talk about. Why do you think they made all of the important Titans hella badass and like really cool and dynamic, and they just made the mob Titans idiots? Like why? Like
What do you mean by cool Titans? Which
like the
ones?
human
colossal
Titans, like the
and
colossal, the special Titans.
So we're
Oh,
assuming
right.
that those are
armored
humans
Titans.
too,
Yeah.
and so they might be within the walls, or maybe there's some other colony. I don't know.
Here's
Yeah, that's what I would do.
That's
That
what
occurred to me
Yeah.
while watching the series too.
I really hope season 2 answers these questions.
it's
Yeah.
like this is part of what pissed me off about the show, and that I hate and love at the same time. It's like it's almost insulting when you see all these characters just get brutalized by these dummies. It's like they look so stupid, but they're like wreaking carnage on like all these people, and it's almost worse because they look and act like idiots. If they looked scary, if they were drawn more like vicious or like animal like, and they weren't just like your idea of like a bobblehead, like naked Japanese businessman,
Right.
like walking down the street and like picking up villagers left and right and shoving them in his mouth. Like, I feel like if they looked intentionally fearsome, it would almost take away from just the disgustingness of it all.
Some of the abnormals do, though. I think we've reached the point where we're not gonna see people dying from regular Titans anymore, just like abnormal ones, like the weird ones that
four-legged
crawl
ones?
on,
Yeah.
like four
Yeah.
legs.
There's
or,
a
like-
lot of four-legged ones, and there's a lot of like weird design regarding them. It's like
Yeah.
they all put their butts in the air and they all like waddle along, and you know.
You know, one thing that I found really creepy of the Titans is like, okay, they look human-like, right?
Ish,
But some of
yeah.
them look
Yeah, yeah.
real, like pretty darn human, right?
Yeah.
Some of them look
Yeah.
like giant babies.
One of them looks like
They're-
Hank Hill. It's the one who like does the weird chicken run and
Ew, yeah, gross.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
do that.
boots the
Yeah.
guy down down the
I wish
street.
people could see that.
Yeah.
So but the thing I was going to say is also what freaks me out is their teeth are not to scale of humans. They're like smaller, and there's just a ton of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
so
And
creepy.
that looks really weird too.
And they're flat. They're not pointy.
yeah,
for the most part.
God,
So it's like they're not even animal-like and vicious.
amazing design.
Yeah, it's
Disgusting.
a great design.
There's
Disgusting.
there's so many times when like a Titan is just holding a person in their mouth or just like nibbling on them, and then when they're like, I guess it's time to smoosh him, and they just like crunch down. It's like, oh god, that's so gross.
Also, how do some Titans have beards and some don't? Or some shaving? What's happening?
Yeah,
Dude, there's one with a mustache.
Oh god, who's
like,
maintaining that?
that's
Mr.
crazy.
Rogers' mustache, and it's like
either that's
How?
sloppy or very well thought out.
Or
We'll
like a
see.
soldier jumped on them and shaved off some of the beard. You
This
think?
is what makes
Yeah.
me. This is what makes
Yeah, they missed.
Also, I gotta bring up their swords. Why do they look like X-Acto knives where you can like snap
Right?
off the top and
Yeah,
like get to a sharper
Unit
edge?
2's like Sonic Blades, also X-Acto knives.
Oh,
It's
God,
like
yeah.
they're just borrowing design from Evangelion.
Yeah, it's so weird. One thing I want to bring up is I didn't get to bring this up surprisingly, considering it goes back to like episodes 1 and 2. But the fact that like humanity is treated like cattle, and
Yeah.
at the end of like the first or second episode, Aaron says something like, "At that moment, we knew home was a pen, humanity cattle."
Yeah, great line. I wrote that down
Yeah,
too.
it's just really badass, and I love thinking that the show is like an analogy or has like a statement about like humanity feasting on animals and how savage we are, and we're like just children gleefully eating these things and not thinking about it, thinking about what we do.
Secret vegan creator.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's like kind of cool because it's like I guess we've seen in movies or something like Godzilla or whatever threatening humans, and then so now we're not at the top of the food chain, but this isn't just like one monster. This is like a whole race of people, and they look like us.
Yeah.
And that's what's creepy about it, right?
It's like uncanny. It's like it's weird.
It's like, is this how animals look at us?
right.
It's like these big, scary man babies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's so weird because like the humans in the show don't see the Titans as intelligent, but maybe the Titans don't see the humans as intelligent.
Yeah.
Just like how there's people all around here who are
building
like,
villages. I just gotta eat you, and that's
yeah,
it.
it's like there's humans here who are like, oh, cows are all stupid. They eat grass. We keep them in a pen, and then we eat them.
Yeah.
Like maybe cows are thinking like incredibly cool things. Like like dolphins are really smart. I hear. I think.
They also rape.
Yes, yeah. Fact? Question mark? I
Question
think.
marks.
Yeah.
What's that? Facts?
Yeah.
Just see what up.
But yeah, I love thinking that. Although I do think that the show is probably not making a statement about like meat eaters and stuff, just because the characters in the show seem to love meat.
Yeah,
and like
that's a thing.
the upper soldiers
Yeah,
like keep it in
especially
their
Sasha,
pantry.
yeah.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
like crave for it and like sneak it out of the soldiers'
Yeah.
pantry. and
Right,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to also mention the viewing experience this time. So we've often, I mean, Brendan, you're definitely more into the subs than either of us.
Generally
Sean's into
speaking,
the dubs.
yeah.
And I think on a couple of the shows that we've done, we've either switched between the two. I
Yeah.
think I've done a switch halfway through. I think
Yeah.
Sean has too. You've done that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've watched the sub. Some of us we've changed.
Right.
So for this show, I actually decided to do something different, where I watched the dub, but I kept the subs on for the entire show.
Whoa.
And I was constantly like
Comparing?
listening and comparing to what the translation was.
The
Like I thought
most
that,
distracting way to watch the show.
yeah, no, I didn't find it too distracting though, because I was really curious to see what the difference was. And oh my, I'm really glad I did it for this show, because I can't imagine, like, I don't know if how different it is for other shows, but it is often quite different. The difference, and what I found was the Japanese was a lot more brutal.
Yeah.
Like people were like, there are people chirping on each other. It is way more brutal in the Japanese. There was a lot more swearing. I didn't really write down that many examples, but I did write down one in episode 18, and it was really interesting. I don't remember exactly what was happening, but I believe Levi says to Aaron, so this is in English. I think Aaron's trying to decide what to do, whether he should, turn into a Titan or whatever. They're like in the forest.
All right.
And in English, he says, "Think about it, Aaron." But the sub says, "Think about it with your small brain." It's like unnecessarily just a big insult.
Yeah, everybody's actually an asshole to each other in this
weird.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
And then I wrote the one other one that I wrote down.
The strong
that I
crown
wrote
of the
down
weak, dude.
is in episode 23. There's that guy in the military police that wants to change things, and he sees
Mushroom cut.
He sees two cops, other military police, like illegally selling weapons to merchants.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
So, so in the English, they give him money and they're like, "Go spend it on a girl, all right? She'll help you unwind." And in the Japanese, it was, "For now, go buy yourself a hooker and chill the F out." Like, whoa, that is very different. These are for two different audiences.
That's really funny.
I feel like this
Yeah.
could also just be chalked up to like whoever wrote the subs.
Yeah,
being
it's
like,
just crazy.
This is generally what they're saying. They're saying, "Go fuck yourself, you idiot."
But it's such a disparity between
Yeah.
the two.
So I've seen the show 3 times. My first time, I watched it right when it came out, so I watched it all in Japanese.
Yeah.
Then I revisited it a few years later, back when all the OVAs were out.
Right.
And I watched all of the show in English, and I think the OVAs in Japanese still.
Mm-hmm.
And this third time, I watched it all in English and the OVAs in Japanese. So I've seen both. I said this earlier, but like generally, I think the show is more believable to me in English, just
Yeah.
because the screaming that everybody does sounds like.
It's like, yo,
more-
chill, please.
Yeah, it's like easier to understand or to believe when it's in English. But I'll say I did take a quick note of what some of the characters, like the voice actors who voice the characters in the show, have voiced in other anime. So I'll say Aaron. Okay, the guy who voices Aaron also voices Masaomi Kida in Durarara.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
In English?
What's my name? Masaomi Kida.
Yeah, in English, right?
Yeah, in English.
Yeah, I hear that now.
These are all English, and I'm saying Armin, the guy who voices Armin, voices Yuri Katsuki.
Oh, of course he does. That's perfect.
totally.
In
That
Yuri
makes
on Ice,
so
obviously.
much sense. He's got that weebly whiny kind of. Oh,
Yeah, it's great.
Aaron, no, Victor, no.
The actress who voices Mikasa voices Lanfan in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That, like the girl who loses her arm.
Yeah. She's cool.
She voices the blonde and redheaded character in Yuri on Ice, the one who's a fan of Yuri at that one competition.
Yeah,
No
cool.
way. Oh, damn.
Oh, that's very different, actually.
And she voices Mary Illustrious Makanami from I don't know how to read this, from Eva 2.0, the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The person who voices Jean voices Master Roshi, Jean Havoc from Full Metal Alchemist,
Oh my god.
and the ice skater from Kazakhstan in Yuri on Ice. Sasha, the person who voices Sasha, is Ashley Birch, which is like a semi-famous person on the internet. She's in like Borderlands. She's Chloe in Life is Strange, which is the blue-haired girl.
Right, yeah.
She's Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn,
Right,
that PS4 game that just came out.
Jeez.
The guy who voices Erwin voices Scar in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Nice.
And the last one I want to bring up is the voice of Levi is Matthew Mercer, which is like a hugely famous guy to nerds on the internet.
McCree, dude.
Yeah, he voices McCree in Overwatch, and he voices Corleonis in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
So like that's like
Cool.
I think
Good
I want to
cast.
keep. I think I want to keep doing this like little bit of research.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. I like that.
Cool to know who like matches up with
also
other
has
people
a-
in different shows.
Fun D&D show.
Oh yeah, really popular.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess those are all my thoughts. You guys, anything else you
Yeah.
want to say?
I guess I want to ask
Final
you
thoughts?
any like final brutal moments you want to bring up from the show. There's like when
Oh, like heart-wrenching moments? Or just any... Okay.
yeah anything.
All 4 shots within the same, like, 15-minute frame of Petra dying where she's mooshed up against the tree.
Oh,
That
Petra
kind of
dying.
That kind
was
of broke my
rough.
heart.
Oh god, yeah, that's
And
Especially-
the dad, after being like, "Oh, hey, Captain Levi, like my
Oh,
daughter was
God.
ready to devote her life to you," and I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah, that was
so rough."
That was brutal. I want to say the cleanup scene again, where we find Marco who died off screen, and he's got this like weird expression where his upper lip is just gone.
Yeah, it's fucked up. I obviously want to bring up when Aaron's eaten because he's just swooping, flying through the city like Spider-Man,
So-
leg bitten off, and he like
Yeah.
tumbles onto a roof, and then when his arm gets bitten off, and
It just flies.
it doesn't
yeah.
just fall to the ground; it flings off past Armin's face.
Yeah.
like a
so
rubber
brutal.
band, just like
Yeah, so goddamn brutal.
Can you imagine me just slamming the computer shut after that happened?
Yeah, Jesus. There's like some really cool shit between like Mikasa and Levi. Levi's like a spinning top. He's like a Beyblade.
yeah.
When the two
demolishing
of them
shit.
fight
Take on
Annie,
Annie. Oh.
after
Yeah.
after Aaron's in their mouth,
cool.
it was
Yeah.
amazing. Like Mikasa is missing from the middle of the show,
Well,
by the way.
I just wanna
like
say-
in the whole formation thing, and I was finally so happy to see her be a badass again.
Right, but what I want to say from that specific fight scene is that Mikasa almost doesn't do much. It's like Levi jumps in, beats the shit out of Annie as a Titan,
Yeah.
slits open her jaw, grabs Aaron, and Mikasa's kind of just standing there.
She does stuff before Levi gets there, though,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
when I was like, finally.
Probably the most gruesome thing I maybe have ever seen in anime. The inside of the Titan's stomach with all the mangled cadets' bodies, and
Right.
then one of them is still alive calling for her mother and gets like digested by stomach acid, and Aaron's like, "Oh fuck, here we go,"
Yeah.
and turns into a Titan. That
Jeez.
was disgusting, and that made me go like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
this is rough."
So I don't know if I have anything left to say on the show.
Yeah, I think that's just about it.
Yeah,
Just about covers it.
I'm really excited to see season 2. I really hope for some answers.
We
The
will be
season
covering
1 is
it.
not enough. It's not satisfying enough.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this episode, we're making an episode on Attack on Titan Season 2. It's going to be the next episode that comes out after this one.
Yeah. So stick around
Yeah.
if you want. I'm not telling you what to do.
I'm glad that the next one's only 12 episodes. I'm just hoping that they like pick up the pace and answer a lot more questions.
Every episode is a new answer.
Yeah.
That would be ideal.
And I'm hoping that the season after this probably comes a lot sooner than 4 years.
Oh, please.
Hopefully.
Don't make me quit a second time.
Yeah.
You can also find us on the internet and talk to us and tell us what you think about the show, what you think about our thoughts on the show, anything else, comments, queries. Hit us with it.
So we're on Facebook as Shonen Chumps. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Our channel is Shonen Chumps. You can find us on the Apple iTunes store or podcast store. That's what it's called. Yeah. Apple iTunes. And then like Google Play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so...
and most podcast apps because they take from iTunes, I believe.
Yeah.
and SoundCloud if you're really
Yeah.
fucked up.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.